Hey guys, TJ here at Top Tech Cards and Games, and today I'm going to do an overview on how to play the new Versus System 2-player card game. It's sort of a reboot of the old Versus game, though there are some relatively major differences between the two games. To get started, let's just look at the different card types we have. First off, we have main characters. Your main character starts the game in play, and it has a second level, which it gains experience over the course of the game through different mechanics. Each character has different ways that they level up. Down here they'll have the ability with level up, and then it'll show you how many different times it needs to gain experience before it levels up. So for instance, with Professor X, as I have right here, he gets an experience every turn that we did not make any attacks. So basically you would just pass your turn for the first 3 turns of the game, or 4 turns of the game rather. Then once he has the 4th experience, you exchange out this level 1 character for this level 2 one. Next we have supporting characters, which are a lot like main characters, but they don't start the game in play, and you have to play them for a cost. Then we have abilities, or plot twist rather. Let's get the name right. And locations. Plot twists are like spell cards, and locations are a main resource of the game, though you don't have to have them to develop resources. Next up, let's talk about the different factions within the game. You have the X-Men, as you can see in the top corner right here on Professor X. The Avengers, you can see on our Doctor Strange card here. Supervillains, the symbol we have on Loki, and Guardians of the Galaxy. The symbols are all in this top right corner on our cards. The symbol is important because for the characters, there are certain cards that will interact with them only if they have the proper factions, such as these certain locations, which we'll talk about later. But it's most important for plot twists, because you can only play a plot twist if you have a character of the affiliation in play. So if we had Doctor Strange and Professor X in play, we'd be able to play this Think Again to cancel an attack, but we would not be able to play Give Him a Lift to give a guy +1 in flying. And that's pretty important as far as deck construction goes. It's always important to remember you're going to start the game with a character in play from your main character, so you can choose an affiliation that you'll always be able to play plot twists from. And other than that, you have to build your deck with whatever other plot twist you want to play in mind. There are also generic plot twists that do not have an affiliation on them. You can play them no matter what characters you have in play. They're very generic effects. That's why they're basically costless, so to speak. There is no cost to playing plot twists in general, but you don't have to have any certain characters in play to play them. So that does offer a lot of versatility for those cards. Moving on, as far as playing the actual, or I guess how these cards actually work, these cards also have different abilities on them. The characters, these ones each have, this one has a main ability, this one has a build ability, and I think this one also has a main ability when it levels up. And these plot twists have combat abilities, or this one rather. These are all abilities you can use at different points in the game. A combat ability obviously will be used during combat, a main ability will be used during your main step, and build abilities will be used during your build step. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, what are all these different steps? Let's get into the overview of how a turn actually works. First things first, these cards, as you probably noticed just looking at them, have costs up in their top left corner. That is because you have to have resources to play your cards. During each of your turns, well, at the start of the game rather, let's talk about this first. You shuffle up and you draw 7 cards. I'm not going to give it a real good shuffle. I'm just going to kind of, At this point, you're given the opportunity to mulligan 1 time. Should you choose a mulligan, you shuffle in, just redraw. Like I said, you only get 1 of them, so you have to be a little bit kind of choosy about it. Then we go to the start of the game where we're able to start building our resources. Turn player going first does not draw. If you were the second player, you draw 2 cards for each of your turns. So you get a lot of resources to work with very quickly. The first thing you do on your turn is you go to what's called your build step. In your build step, you're able to play resources, which you can play any card in your deck face down as a resource, or any card from your hand rather. And it'll provide you with 1 resource point to spend on playing characters. So if we put this in our resource row and we only have this one card in our resources, we would have 1 point to use to play characters. Obviously, this won't do anything. We won't be able to play any characters right now since this one costs 4 and this one costs 6. The other kind of resource, I guess, is the location cards. Locations get played face up into your resource row. This is because resources are the way you pay for activated abilities. Cards like Doctor Strange have this ability, or have this symbol next to their ability. It says man, pay a yellow, or an academy. I don't know. I've been calling them yellows. You can tell me what you guys want to call them. And then it does its ability. So what this means is called its character superpower, and you can use a character's superpowers each once per turn. Basically, this card would be in our resource row. We have Doctor Strange in play already, and then to use his ability, we would flip down our resource. So we've expended that one. The colored potential of this card, it goes down, but it still is going to provide a colorless resource basically to cast our characters. So these cards can get a lot of interesting value from them. There's also different location cards like this Avengers Mansion, which is, as you can see, affiliated with Avengers. And then to use its payment or its ability, you have to use it on an Avengers character. So this one will make any of the different colors. There are 4 different colors, blue, yellow, green, and red. And this land in particular, or location rather, will only work for Avengers characters. So it would be able to activate Doctor Strange's ability or Spider-Man's ability, but it won't do anything for our Professor X. Anyways, so in our build step, let's say we had these 5 resources in play. We have Spider-Man in play. Then in our build step, we use our resources to play Doctor Strange. At this point, we're able to rearrange our characters. You have 2 rows of characters, a front and a back line. So it's important to place them in the right areas. The biggest mistakes I've made playing this game have all been based on where I place my characters. It's actually how I punted my first round in the 10K at Gen Con. I wasn't paying attention to where my characters were, and I just threw the game as savagely as humanly possible. There's pros and cons to being in both rows. In the back line, your character can't be attacked unless there is a clear front line. We'd have our Professor X in play too. Unless there is a clear front line. However, unless they have the range symbol right here, the little sights, as you can see on Professor X, they cannot attack from the back line. However, having the range symbol also has the bonus of not taking damage back. Combat works very similarly to in a game like Magic, where if this character attacked this one, we would both compare stats and both deal damage to each other. So being in the back line prevents you from getting attacked back on, which is very, very beneficial. The other key ability right here that's very common on cards is flying, as you can see by the wings up top on Doctor Strange. Flying means you're able to attack over your opponent's front line into their back line, so it makes your backline characters a little bit less safe. And there are cards that have both of these abilities, like Iron Man and Magneto. We'll just show Magneto. Yeah, he's got both abilities. When you have both abilities, you can attack from your backline into your opponent's backline, which makes these cards extremely powerful. But this is our build step. That's when we play cards, rearrange them. From there, we move into what's called the main step. In your main step, you transition between main and combat as many times as you would like. So we can have, like we said before, we'll have just maybe these cards in play this time. We'll put Spider-Man up front. And we have some spells in our hand. And let's put a main ability in play too. Let's get Doctor Strange in play as well. So with these things, we're in our main step now. We're able to use the abilities on our main step cards, like Doctor Strange, so we could use this, flip it over, pay a yellow. Doctor Strange is then going to change all of the +1 counters on a character into -1 counters, or all the -1 counters into +1 counters. It's an extremely strong effect. And we're able to use that during our main. We are not able to use it during combat. In your main step, you switch as many times as you like between being in main or being in combat. So that means after we use that effect, we can then attack. So we can attack our opponent's characters. Let's say we use Magneto to attack our opponent's Let's grab some kind of creature for them to have in play. Our opponent's Green Goblin that's sitting in their front line. Our Magneto is going to fly or ranged attack in, so he won't take damage back, and our opponent's Green Goblin will get killed. When you defeat a character, it gets flipped face down and receives what's called a wound on it. Characters have these health symbols down here. If they only have one, when they're defeated, they just die. These cards are not all on the screen. I look really stupid right now. They just die. So, when this character dies or flips over, it's just going to die from the wound on it. However, some characters do have more health on them, such as this Emma Frost, which has 2 health. So if it takes 1 wound, it goes face down, receives its wound, then flips back up with a wound on it on your next turn. Anyways, when you attack, you can use combat plot twists and combat abilities. So we can attack with our Spider-Man and use the Squad Tactics card to give it a +1/+1 counter, buffing it up and helping it either win combat or survive combat against another character. You cannot, during combat, play plot twists that have main in their text box. So when we're attacking, we could not use Give 'em a Lift to give a +1 counter in flying. We would have to play it in our main step. After we attack, we return back to our main step where we can continue attacking. During your main step, you, however, cannot rearrange characters. At the end of your build step, wherever you put your characters is where they are to stay. So if we ended our main step, or moved into our main step rather, with our arrangement like this, and we realized we wanted them differently, you can't move it anymore. Especially, you'll find situations where after you attach, you go, oh man, I wish that guy was in the back line. You really need to have the right amount of forethought put into your plays to make sure that your cards are in the zone you want them in. It really is the most punishing aspect of the game, I find, but it adds a ton of depth to the gameplay itself. As far as winning the game itself goes, you win the game by killing your opponent's main character. All the main characters except for Thanos have 5 health, as I call it. I don't know if it's actually called health in the rulebook or not, which means they need to take 5 wounds to die, or 6 in the case of Thanos. So once your character is stunned for the turn, flip face down, it's not able to take any more damage this turn. So games go on for a pretty long time since you need a minimum of 5 turns to kill another player. Probably more since they're going to try not to let you kill their character, and in some cases more just in general because they're playing the 6 health character. There are a number of other keywords in the game and abilities, such as Ferocious, which is the same thing as First Strike in Magic, meaning your character deals its damage first, and just myriad of other different abilities. A lot of the cards are really unique, have some really cool effects. There is a lot of position-based gameplay regarding the rows, which is really cool. But this is just a really, really generic overview of the game. A lot of basics are in here. I know that you're not going to be able to fully understand how to play the game just from watching this video, but I'm hoping that this was enough of the terminology and enough just seeing what the cards look like, how they work. The stats, if I didn't make it clear, you have attack, defense, yellow number attack, blue number defense. And for winning combat, you attack in. If I attacked this Professor X with a 3 attack character, for instance, Professor X wouldn't be flipped over. He would only take, or you would only be attacking for 3. Damage does not stick on. You have to defeat a character in the combat it's in. So you couldn't attack him with two attack characters to flip him over. You have to attack him for 4 when you attack, or he will not be stunned. Yeah, really the purpose of this video isn't to actually teach you guys entirely how to play. It's to give you enough of an understanding that when you're watching gameplay videos, and since this game is new, we're going to try to be very open about what we're doing, what's happening, how it's happening, what the mechanics taking place are as we make gameplay videos. But I just wanted to make this video to give you guys a generic enough overview that when you watch the game being played, you can sort of understand. And then this video then, coupled with our explanations as we're playing actual gameplays, will hopefully let you guys understand how to play the game well enough that you'll fully understand it. But it's not that difficult of a game to play. It seems pretty daunting at first, actually, but the complexities of the game are almost all like mechanical in-game things rather than learning how to play the game. In general, the game is pretty straightforward as far as just getting the simple rules down. And I think you guys will all really like it. It's been a ton of fun for us so far. Me and Zach especially have really been enjoying playing the game, and we're going to play it for quite a bit of time to come. And it has the awesome bonus of being, I don't want to call it a living card game because they got sued for calling it that, but I don't know what else to call it. So it's a living card game, meaning you just have to buy expansions and you get all the cards at once. So right now with the release, it's basically $50 to own a playset of the entire card game. Yes, that doesn't mean you can build multiple decks at the same time, but I mean, to pay $50 to own a full game is just one of the most insane deals I've ever seen as far as card games go. I'm not big on the trading aspect of the games anyway, so this is just perfect for me. Though I don't mind being able to play for like card prizes and like trade and stuff with them occasionally, but I would definitely rather just pick the whole game up for $50 and play with that. It's much cheaper than picking up even a budget deck in most games, so it's a ton of fun. You guys should definitely check it out. We'll have more gameplays coming up soon, and hopefully I can answer some questions for you guys, though I would really advise you to watch the gameplay we already posted, and then watch another gameplay from either our channel or someone else's once there's more up there. But I just think watching some games be played along with this, you'll be able to get a pretty good understanding. Then if you have questions, feel free to ask. I'd be more than happy to answer. Other than that, I just hope you guys are interested in the game. I know we're really hoping it takes off. We just want to play it a ton, so hopefully everything works out for the best. Other than that, make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, let me know what you think downstairs in the comments. And other than that, I will see you guys all soon.